Pitbull saved his mom's life and refuses to leave her hospital bed. The whole idea about a service dog can be confusing to those who don't have one. To understand how service dogs serve someone and how they can save someone's life, you should see these hardworking dogs in action. That's the best way to understand how important they are. Ruby is an exceptional service dog based in Australia. She's also a white and gray Staffy pit bull. Once her mama, Shauna Darcy, adopted her, she started training in 2017 to become the best service dog ever. Ruby showed the world how amazing she is when she saved her mom's life. Read on to discover Ruby's story and heroic action. Shauna Darcy is a sweetheart girl living in Austin, Australia. Shauna would be just like any other girl if she wasn't diagnosed with depression and anxiety. To go smoothly through the day, Shauna needs massive support, so she decided to get a service dog. After all, service dogs are specially trained to help people with these challenges. Getting a dog is a serious commitment, but Shauna convinced her family that she will take good care of the dog and train him. Now she just had to find the perfect dog. After days and days of researching, Shauna decided to get herself a pity breed. After all, this breed is known for being exceptional service dogs. Shauna really hit a jackpot with her pity. She got a girl named Ruby. Ruby and Shauna hit it off instantly and started training together from day one. In no time, Ruby showed how perfectly she understands Shauna's condition and emotions. Primarily, Ruby helped her by keeping strangers away from her and protecting her from harm. Ruby learned anxiety and depression alerts and easily helped Shauna in those moments. Every attack was followed by Ruby's assistance. Service dogs are even taught to bring the phone during a crisis so the handler can contact support. One day, though, everything seemed perfectly normal. Shauna started feeling sick. That day, she did everything as usual like she does every day. This made her even more confused and scared about her sickness. What she was feeling was nothing like depression or anxiety. However, Ruby was all the time next to her and acted funny. She made Shauna even more scared about her health condition. Shauna started feeling worse every second. Ruby jumping around her only confirmed to her that something was wrong. Still, she had no idea what was wrong or what to do. Luckily, Ruby knew the procedure. Service dogs are trained to bring in the medicine and the phone when the attack occurs. Ruby got her back. Suddenly, Ruby started acting funny. She was acting differently, not like when Shauna goes through depression or anxiety attacks. Something was definitely wrong. It looked as if Ruby knew something that Shauna wasn't aware of. At the time, Shauna had no idea that she was in danger. Luckily, Shauna decided that she will visit a doctor as soon as she feels a little better. And she did it, but she wasn't ready for what was coming. Doctor ran some quick tests and told her to wait for the results. While she was waiting, Ruby was next to her. She refused to leave her. Shauna wasn't aware of it, but Ruby knew that her owner will soon understand why Ruby was acting so strange. Shauna was shocked when the doctor told her that next to her existing problems, she has a rare heart condition called vascular Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. At that moment, Shauna looked at Ruby and couldn't believe it. She realized that Ruby was trying to warn her. Moreover, Ruby was checking her heart rate and jumping on her chest as she was trying to say, "Shauna, your heart is sick." Shauna's doctor told her that she needs to stay in the hospital until she gets better. The doctor had no idea that someone else's doctor had planned to stay in the hospital as well. Ruby decided to stay with Shauna. If she could talk, she would say, "No, I'm staying." But as a dog, she not to put her paw outside of Shauna's room until Shauna is awake, healthy, and on her feet. It turned out that Shauna's heart was going into atrial fibrillation. Moreover, by the time the ambulance came, she was in pain and she could barely stand. The ambulance rushed Shauna to the hospital. It was clear to Darcy that Ruby had saved her life, and Ruby wasn't ready to let Shauna be alone at the hospital. Ruby was determined not to leave Shauna alone, so she refused to leave her side. Doctors had no choice but to leave her to guard her owner. Ruby was closely monitoring every step. Even when doctors worked to get Shauna stable again, Ruby was determined not to leave her friend, even when she was sleeping. As a true friend and a service dog, Ruby stayed at Shauna's feet every day. She was determined to help her owner feel safe and secure. So Ruby stayed with Shauna and she met her new friends in the hospital. She loved saying hi to everyone inside the hospital. Everyone knew their story and that Ruby saved Shauna's life. To show the world how supportive and loving her dog actually is, Shauna decided to share their journey on social media. In addition, she started Ruby's account. Shauna shared their everyday life in the hospital, how they were spending time, what they were eating, and what they did to make time fly faster. If there wasn't for Ruby, Shauna just might not get the help that she needed so fast. Truth be told, maybe the outcome of this story would be different if Shauna had no service dog. Luckily, this story is one with a happy ending. Shauna will have Ruby around for years to come to protect her. There are stories similar to this one happening every day, but these 5 stories really made us say, wow. The Daniels family adopted a dog from a rescue organization and named her Amber. From day one, Amber attached to a 10-year-old boy, Trey. One night, Trey had a seizure attack and fell into the bathtub. Immediately, Amber informed Trey's parents, who took the boy to the hospital. Luckily, the boy is fine now. Kylo is one of the most heroic dogs ever. He loves his family so much that he literally took a bullet to protect his owners. A man invaded Becker's home and pulled a gun on Justin, the owner of the place. Kylo wanted to protect his owner, so he attacked the burglar. Unfortunately, the gun went off, shooting Kylo in the head. Luckily, Kylo survived miraculously. Thanks to her service dog, a 137-pound Great Dane named George, Bella Burton was riding a bike and walked on her own last summer for the first time. Bella has a rare metabolic disorder that leads to dwarfism. Most of her life, Bella had to rely on crutches or a wheelchair to get around. That changed when she got George. She learned to lean on George, and the two are often seen walking together or sliding. Audrey is legally blind, and she got a service dog named Figo. Since day one, their favorite activity was walking. One day almost separated them forever. While they were crossing the street, an accident happened. Figo placed himself between Audrey and a bus. However, both ended up being hit. Audrey and Figo recovered after a couple of months, and he was even awarded with the title Dog of the Year by the ASPCA. Service dogs are so well trained that it's just incredible. The dog knows just what to do when his owner faints. He will lie under his legs and arms and start licking his hands. Afterwards, he will apply deep pressure therapy and lick his face and listen to the heartbeat to make sure that his owner is okay.